Sports Minister admits delay in the construction of games venues. Authorities take a stand in combating TB in the nation's capital. More opposition to the proposed death penalty.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Thursday's news. It's good to have your company again. There could be a delay in the development progress of sporting venues for the Pacific Games. Sports Minister Justin Chichenko told Parliament today that the delay is due to a shortage in foreign currency in the central bank. This dilemma is currently being experienced with the development of the Rita Flynn netball courts.
Teleforming MP Solan Mirisim queried whether the Pacific Games infrastructure will be completed in time for the Games. It's a question that lay heavy on the minds of many people given the time factor.
Plant infrastructure sample by complete within long months na papila start sample plant public looking mo sampai na complete before the game start. Also na long Minister responsible want them, Vice Minister long explaining flow want the people for Papua New Guinea.
Sports Minister Justin Chichenko reassured Parliament all is on target.
All the construction for all the major venues are on target and will be completed by July 4, 2015.
However, some sporting venues like the Rita Flynn netball courts are experiencing delays in construction caused due to a shortage in foreign currency. Chichenko says this is an unforeseen situation and he's currently in talks with the banks to source foreign currency to purchase materials from abroad.
The Rita Flynn netball courts, due to the fact that there is not enough foreign currency at the moment in this country to buy the products that they need on a timely basis, and we're addressing that with the chairman of ESB and who is also the chairman of the Pacific Games. These are unforeseen issues that have popped up that we're addressing and we're moving forward with.
Yesterday, the Pacific Games Infrastructure Acquittal Report of 100 million kina was presented to the Finance Minister James Marape. The funds were released last December through the supplementary budget. Finance Minister James Marape says the government would have spent 1.5 billion kina in total at the end of the construction phase. Mickey Cavera, National EMTV News.
NCD Health Services, through the National Health Department, is taking a bold stance to address the tuberculosis epidemic in Port Moresby. Health Services Advisor Dr. Gary O has reaffirmed that TB poses a health risk to international activities like the 2015 Pacific Games and the APEC Summit. He said TB epidemic will be addressed through medical checks in all health facilities to ensure proper treatment is provided. UPNG journalism student Eric Harupma has more on this report.
Continuous support and funding from the Health Department and local MPs will be an advantage to seriously addressing the TB epidemic in NCD. Dr. Owa made this statement in response to the recent TB outbreak in NCD, recording over 6,000 patients in 2014. NCD is one of the TB hotspots apart from Western and Gulf provinces. This poses a frightening situation because there will be international activities coming up like the 2015 Pacific Games and the APEC Summit.
It's going to be called St. Paul Health Center. It's a new facility we try to address with the church in partnership. And we have got places like Morata is a critical place for us. It's in the middle of a very, very large population. And Kila and Kaugera. So you can imagine that TB is everywhere.
NCD Health Services plans to improve the TB control program that will run for 12 months. Other specific programs include supervised delivery of pregnant mothers, poor level of immunization, safe delivery of pregnant mothers by health workers, and supervising visits to health facilities. This formalized program will run for 12 months as specific activity plans to address TB epidemic. However, Dr. Owa said it is a very expensive exercise to treat TB patients.
And then the other important component is the equipment, things like blood pressure machine, things that test you to test your blood, test your blood sugar and so forth. These are known as biomedical equipment. So in terms of availability of these things, NCD, we have no problems with these things running out, because we are close to the base medical supply center in Port Moresby, so we always have constant access to it. The other thing that really has complement ensuring that the supplies are available is the kit system.
There are two forms of TB infections: sensitive TB, 9 months of treatment, and drug-resistant 2 years. Over 180 drug-resistant patients identified are brought to receive medication, while the rest are yet to be diagnosed and treated. TB patients in NCD are diagnosed and receiving treatment at Geru Hospital. Dr. Owa urged city residents to seek medical checkups in designated hospitals and clinics in the city while experiencing coughing persisting for 2 weeks.
International activity, and so this is why we have to contain the TB epidemic.
Meanwhile, the health department has donated 5 vehicles yesterday to facilitate in providing medical services to NCD residents. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Health Minister Michael Malabag has blasted political bureaucrats for acting as spectators in the fight against tuberculosis in Papua New Guinea. While efforts have been made to address the TB crisis, political bureaucrats must make it their business to ensure that they are part of the discussions to fix this health problem. EMTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
The National Health Minister was responding to questions raised in Parliament today by Southfly MP Aide Ganassi relating to recent media reports on the escalating multi-drug TB-resistant crisis hitting Daru and Western Province and its impacts on clinical staff. Mr. Ganassi raised concerns on the National Health Department program and the stabilization of Daru General Hospital's management and board. He pleaded with Parliament for the state's intervention.
Mr. Speaker, we need help, and I say help, we need it very badly.
Health Minister Michael Malabag in his response stated that the TB crisis in Daru is a struggle to cope, but reassured TB will be controlled once the national government cites the emergency response report that will be presented tomorrow.
Including the coordination, search capacity, and community engagement.
The national government will support the alarming TB epidemic in Daru with the construction of a new 22-bed ward. Technical assistance will also be provided with more health outreach programs, with the medics Queen C ambulance assistance, patient transfers, and 10 positions consisting of doctors, TB officers, and health outreach officers. Mr. Malabag also acknowledged the Australian government's commitment to the fight against TB in Daru and Western Province. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The Business Council of Papua New Guinea has pointed out 3 areas to partner with the government to develop the business sector. These areas include creating social partnership programs between the government's bodies and private companies and reviewing the economic policy. Business Council President David Toh raised these points at a business breakfast this morning.
Amongst the points raised on improving our business sector, the Business Council wants the government to focus on the economic policy, business regulatory reform and social partnership programs. Council President David Toh described these points as critical areas and says with the talent, resource and government leadership, these points can be achieved through state and public partnership. Economic policy dialogue was classified as the Council's core relationship with the state, and the Council is embarking on creating a progressive and appropriate working environment in all government offices. To assess the right kind of policies, incentives and tools are needed to achieve desirable outcomes that can improve our economy against other economies.
There is a shared vision from business and government that more of our people need to participate in the economy, and we are making a concerted effort to outsource joint venture and work collaboratively on business opportunities.
In the business regulatory reform, the Council suggested a number of areas that needs improvement. This includes lifting the certification and standards of goods and services, qualification to match global standards, and create favorable tax regime that focuses on business growth.
So collectively, we should share ideas, our resources and our brightest to give us insights in ways of progressing our future.
While for social partnership programs, it will be people-focused, and the Council is in close dialogue with the United Nations Development Programs and the National Planning and Monitoring Department in creating programs that are in line with the government's social priority areas. When responding to the 3 points, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill acknowledged the State and Business Council partnership ideas. He said changes are slowly being made in government offices and his government remains focused on delivering services to the people.
But for now, I am quite confident that our economy remains very strong. This is because our fundamentals are sound, and if we continue to invest smartly, we will continue to see the unprecedented levels of economic growth in our country.
Meanwhile, 3 new policies will be launched by the Planning and Monitoring Department that will address some of the points raised by the Business Council. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Transport Minister William Duma revealed in Parliament that his department has been working on a policy to overhaul the transport system in NCD. However, while that plan is yet to receive Cabinet approval, roads in NCD continue to be congested with multiple roadblocks conducted by 3 different authorities. NCD Governor Paul Parker queried if these functions could be transferred to the NCD Commission.
Vehicle owners and city residents in NCD have seen regular road checks conducted by Police, National Road Safety Authority and Central Provincial Traffic Unit. When it comes to issuance of licenses, vehicle owners get it either from Motor Vehicle Insurance Limited or Central Province Traffic Unit. This has prompted NCD Governor Paul Parker to bring up the issue in Parliament. Transport Minister William Duma says transport issues in NCD are ongoing. However, his department has started policies to regulate the transport system. He also clarified that licensing of PMVs lie with his department, while MVIL issues licenses for private motor vehicle owners.
Licensing our drivers has been delegated to MVIL. We can, if the situation warrants, withdraw the delegated power and enter another arrangement where my department and NCDC can become involved. But again, this is a thing my department has been looking at, and we hope to change the whole system around and introduce a better system that will hopefully reflect the current status of our city in this country.
Once the transport policy is approved by Cabinet, it will then be endorsed and regulated perhaps by one authority. However, many local taxi operators could lose businesses, an issue raised by Northern Governor Gary Jufa, who was recently asked to move to the opposition bench.
This industry, transport, PND business, taxi business, etc., can remain in the hands of Papua-New businessmen and women.
Minister Duman assured the House that no jobs will be taken over by foreigners under the new arrangement.
Foreigners to actually dominate this industry, and I can give that assurance to the government and the people who are involved in this industry.
Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
Minister for Sports and Pacific Games and member for Moresby South, Justin Chichenko, revealed that there are several blocks of land in the nation's capital that have been illegally sold or acquired. Mr. Chichenko said this when responding to a question by the member for Kundry and Gloucester, Joseph Lelang, regarding the Cocky Oval reclaimed land. He said at the end of the day, he will fight for the rights of his Moresby South electorate to claim the land that belongs to them.
Mr. Lelang asked Minister Chichenko to shed some light on the issues with the reclaimed land that is now the Cocky Oval and the actions being taken to rectify the situation. In the Moresby South electorate, the area was once open sea. Mr. Chichenko said when Curtin Brothers was building the ring road to Ella Beach, a former member asked the contractor to reclaim part of the sea next to Wanigala village as recreational area for the people. However, he explained the title was illegally sold to a foreign company for 3 million kina. Mr. Chichenko is now out to correct the past wrongs.
This is reclaimed land made for a specific purpose, How can you give reclaimed land made for a recreational purpose and give it a title and sell it to a foreign-owned company?
Through the Mosby South office, Mr. Tachenko has already contacted the Department of Lands and Physical Planning on the matter. They have issued a notice to show cause to forfeit the land back to the state for the people of Mosby South.
Notice to show cause will give 30 days to Kitogara to justify their purchase of that land and their existence on that land. And from all terms and purposes, since 1987, they've had 5 years to develop that land, 5 years to improve that land, and spend 2 million kina to upgrade the land. That was part of the conditions, and that has not been done. And as far as I'm concerned, that land belongs to the people of Moresby South and the state, for them for recreational purposes, because too many selfish individuals are getting this land for the sake of benefit of themselves and forgetting the rightful owners, which are the people of Moresby South and Papua New Guinea.
Mr. Tachenko said there are other land areas with the same issues in NCD. He said that at the end of the day, he will fight for the people to have the land that belongs to them. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
Plenty more to come on National EMTV News tonight. PNG Council of Churches opposes the death penalty. Also, one NCD school launches its child protection policy and reviving the Kina culture. I'll bring you those stories and more coming up after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The PNG Council of Churches is maintaining its stance and supports the Catholic Church in their views against the death penalty. PNGCC Chairman Father Danny Guka told MTV News today that the churches will continue to push the government to put a stop to it.
Then we're actually going backwards, going down.
The PNG Council of Churches is made up of different denominations in PNG. They claim that the death penalty was a disease since 2013 when the government passed the law. With the vision of how PNG will be in the long run, they claim the government has made a wrong decision to impose the law in a young country about to receive its 40th independence.
This is the specific point that we want to make and want to stress to the government and to the nation. And our call is stop it.
Yesterday, the Catholic Church reaffirmed its statement that they are against the death penalty and urged